As I have a very special guest today. He's in the Airbnb industries. He's here today to give us all the knowledge, what it takes to acquire, what it takes to operate, what it takes to run, and just the overall functions of Airbnb, the Airbnb industry. It hasn't died out. It's still existing. People are still investing. People are still getting into the business. And I have a very special guest today. He's an Airbnb entrepreneur. He also specializes in short-term rentals. He's also a serial entrepreneur. I'd like to welcome Mr. Jay Dinkins to the show.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you, man. No doubt. How you feel today?
I'm incredible, man. Everything's wealthy. Everything's wealthy.
Good.
Sir.
Tell us a little bit about your background, a little bit about where you're from, and what's really going on with you. How you get your start in this business?
Absolutely. So, was a great family. My name is Jay Dinkins, but y'all can call me Jay Dinkins. I actually grew up in the Bronx, in the projects, and I always wanted to do well. I seen a lot of bad happen around me. Come from a big family. Mother had 8 kids. Father had a daughter before he met my mother, so it was about 9 of us, and we grew up in the struggle. So I was the person that thought, going to school was the way, got my college degree, moved back to New York City, started working 2 jobs. I was doing social work for a company called New York City Children's Services. And then I worked at the YMCA part-time. I did that for 7 years and I was still broke. Like literally every single month I had more month left at the end of my money. So I was just trying to figure it out. And 2013, a good friend of mine invited me to a gathering. I'm thinking I'm going to go hang out. And I walk into a network marketing presentation. And at the time, I don't know if you guys, remember, like 2013, it was so negative. It was like, those are pyramid schemes and scams. But all I knew was, working these 2 jobs, I was broke. So I said, let me go ahead and try this. Got involved with network marketing, did really well. Within 2 years, I made more money than I was making on both of the jobs. So I left, went full-time in 2014 as an entrepreneur. And I did well in that company. It was a travel company. Everything was going well. But in 2020, the pandemic hit. Travel was out, so they was forced to shut their doors. And I literally went from making over $90,000 a year to making 0 overnight. And then that's how my journey started here. I was in a space where I had to just kind of figure something out. No experience as an entrepreneur. Reached out to one of my friends who was a serial entrepreneur. And he starts talking about all these businesses. But then he said, man, did you ever think about doing Airbnb? And I said, no. He said, well, here's 2 things I love about it. 1, you can start at low cost and get into profit immediately. And 2, you don't have to own a property. And when he said those things, that's when I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. Yeah.
And what year was that you started your first Airbnb, that you actually started to go out and look for property and said, I'm going to take this seriously. This is what I want to do as a business.
Right. So the process started in 2020. I came home and I looked at my wife and I said, you know what? I think we're going to do this business. And without hesitation, she purchased a course. So we started the learning process at the end of 2020. And then we decided to launch our first unit at the beginning of 2021. So we got our first, we actually started with 2 units. We got our first 2 units and everything was well, In our first year, we made in our first 7 months, we made $104,000. And in our first year, we made $207,000. And that's when I'm like, yo, this thing could be really big, right? And we started to take it seriously, and ended up the next year basically. So in our first 2 years, we made $1 million.
Again?
Yeah, in our first 2 years. Now this is just on the Airbnb platform alone. We did over $1 million. Yeah.
Okay. So after that, I'm sure you wanted to expand and get more units.
Absolutely.
And so what was that process like after you made the $200,000 and what's the next step? When did you pivot?
Right. So, I mean, once I saw it happen and I saw how simple it was, I knew that this is something that we wanted to do, Growing up, I always heard about like real estate and I knew that real estate was definitely the way. Every time you look it up, you see that, the number 1 industry or one of the top industries responsible for creating most millionaires is real estate. So I know I want to do it real estate, but when it comes to like investing in real estate, it just seems so like hard.
It's a lot.
It seemed like a stressful process, and even the thought of coming up with your down payment, dealing with the credit, finding a bank that's going to approve you, dealing with the whole process, appraisals, title searches, all that stuff. It was very intimidating. So I knew that this was something special because it was a way to enter real estate without actually having to purchase a property, without ever having to buy, fix, or flip anything. And I said, you know what? This is a way that we can really do something big where we don't have to worry about coming up with a lot of money. We don't have to worry about having the most amazing credit. And we said, you know what? Let's go ahead and just keep doing it. So we just did the same thing over and over again. We went out. we started to find other buildings that would allow our business model. And it was really simple. It was as simple as just reaching out to them and just saying, hey, man, I provide housing to business professionals that travel for work. And, basically, would you allow me to lease your place and then provide housing to our clients? And we just kept going. So every 3 months, we would get like 3 to 4 units.
Okay. And currently, how many units do you have?
12.
12. And I know you mentioned Nashville a lot. You love the Nashville area.
I love Nashville.
Have you expanded out to other areas? Have you found something similar to how easy it is to get it in Nashville in another market? Well, I'm sure you're currently searching.
It's not really easy to get into Nashville.
It's just more affordable.
It's just much more profitable.
Profitable.
Yeah. So Nashville, most people are familiar with New York City, right? So it'll be like where our units are. It would be like having your units 2 streets over from Times Square, New York City. Like, so we're in a prime location where they're gonna pay a lot. We charge like $500 a night for a 1-bedroom on the weekends. Okay. So we make great money there. But there are like strict permits. But the good thing is the buildings I'm in, they're called Airbnb-Friendly buildings. So they partner with Airbnb and they get the permits for you. So it makes it easier. But if you try to do it on your own, it'll be harder. Right. There's a lot of other areas that are really good. Like I really love Austin. Like I love Austin, Texas. I have a lot of mentees that have units in Austin, Texas. For me, I just launched another unit in Nashville because, for me, if it works, I just keep doing the same thing. So I've had I got you. Atlanta, 2 units out here in Atlanta, one by the Perimeter Mall, another one by Truist, the stadium. And then also, which is another good area that I really like, is Fort Worth, Texas. Okay. So we ended up getting 4 in one building over there in Fort Worth, which is that's a very consistent. It's a little different from Nashville. Nashville is going to be like the money maker. You're going to make $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Some of my 1-bedroom units do like $4,000 a month in profit after paying all of our expenses in Nashville. But when you look at like a Fort Worth, it'll do like anywhere between like $700 and $1,500 depending on the season.
Okay. And just kind of walk us through the process, just a short process of being able to, how do you acquire the units so fast? I'm sure you have a program for that, right? Yeah. So, we teach people. I'm a big believer. And how long does that process take? I know it varies.
Yeah, you can get a unit in one day.
In one day?
Yeah, I've had students that literally, they come to me and then the next day they're in the unit. It's not hard.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. What gives them, how do they qualify for it? What do they have that's lined up in a row that make them get it so fast? I'm sure credit is the number one thing.
Yeah, so credit, you have to be able to get approved, number one, right? So you're gonna have to prove income, and you're gonna have to have the credit. Now, believe it or not, some people are not as big. Some builders are not as big on the credit. Right? So a lot of people think that their credit has to be a lot better than it is.
I thought it was at least 700.
Nah, that doesn't matter. It's just, do you have any evictions? Are you in court for not paying your rent? So you could have. I've had people that had like a 600 and they get in. I have somebody who got a unit, this is about 5-6 months ago, and their credit was like a 590 something, and they got a unit. Man. Yeah, so sometimes like the building may require you to do like an extra deposit or something, but you can get in. So don't let that scare you. Like if you don't have the most amazing credit, it's just, do you have evictions? Are you in court because you refuse to pay your rent? That's really the stuff that they're looking at. Okay. But it's not hard to get a unit. Honestly, it's just your desire and a willingness to get over your fear. Because a lot of times people have the fear of like, I'm not going to be able to afford the rent. What if nobody books? And they think about all these things versus what it would take to win. So for me, I like to make everything super simple. Right. I'll leverage like Airbnb. Right. We talk about Airbnb platform. I will literally go on Airbnb. I'll search whatever area I'm thinking about getting, and I'll find a bunch of people that have listings in the same building. And then I just call that building. Why? Because I already see a bunch of people doing it there. That means
it makes sense.
The building's allowing it. Yeah, so people just overcomplicate. In life, in a lot of things, people overcomplicate
trying to do too much. Go what you see that's working.
Simple. Yeah, if it's working, if I see there's 7 people that they're doing Airbnb in this building, I can see what they're charging. Yeah, I can see about how many days they're getting booked, so I know it's working. I can go and find the building and see what they're charging for rent. So it's easy for me to dictate or see about how much money I'm going to be making. So it's easy. Like I literally look at what's already working and I say, well, I'm going to contact this building because if it's working for them, it's going to work for me. Yeah.
Do you kind of keep your rates comparable to what everybody else is charging? Or you can charge a little bit more, a little bit? It just depends on the unit?
Yeah, so the key is...
The more amenities that it has, or how do you determine?
So Yeah, it's all going to be based on the amenities, how the building looks, but it's more based on how you furnish your unit, right? I always say you want to make your unit look Instagrammable. Like somebody wants to come in there and be like, hey, I'm in here, you know, so you don't want to make it boring. But as far as pricing, I always tell my students, when you first get in, charge a little bit less than what everybody else is doing. Why? Because now, people buy things from you, whether it's, them renting your unit or buying something for you when they know, like, and trust you. So when you have a bunch of reviews, that creates the know, like, and trust factor. But you're new. You don't have any reviews. So what's your advantage? The advantage is that, one, your prices are lower. Your unit looks amazing and it's new. Nobody's been there yet. So somebody may say, you know what? I'm going to go with this unit because it's new. Nobody's been in there. It's going to be clean and it's less money. Now what you do is you get a bunch of bookings like that. Now you're going to get some great reviews because you had a great price, nice looking unit, right? And then now once you get the reviews to back your unit, now you start to raise your price and then you can charge more. So we charge more money than our competitors, in the area because we started off lower. We got the reviews to back us. And now when somebody look up our units, they're like, oh, shoot, they got so many great reviews. Now they want to book us. And they're willing to spend a little bit more because our units are so nice. Right.
Now, let's touch on marketing. Do you strictly use the Airbnb platform or do you use other platform or apps outside of that to do your marketing?
That's a great question. So marketing, when it comes to marketing, honestly, I just so you got Airbnb, you got Vrbo, you got Booking.com, you got Furnish Finder, you have all these platforms, but 95% of my bookings come directly from Airbnb. Like we built up a great, we built it up really good on Airbnb, so most of our bookings come there. But when it comes to overall marketing, one of the things that people think is that they have to do marketing themselves. They think you're gonna have to pay for ads. Like you'll never see me pay for ads. You'll never see me on 42nd Street saying, hey, here's a billboard, book my Airbnb. You'll never see a commercial. You'll never, ever, ever see me on Instagram saying, hey, if you're ever in the Atlanta area, you need an Airbnb. What I love about these platforms, let's talk about Airbnb, is that they have millions of users waiting to book your unit. So you don't have to do any marketing. As long as you set it up, you get it up right, you furnish it nice, you list it. Once you list it, they will do all the marketing for you. Every single day, I'm getting alerts saying I got a new booking and I didn't have to market it. And that's why I love this business model because it allows you to make great money, but you don't have to give a lot of your time and energy to do it.
Okay. Let's touch on risk management. How do you handle unruly guests that come in and break the toilets, the guests who just junk the place, trash the place up, and damages? How do you handle that?
So I'll say,
what's the best advice you would give to someone?
I got you. Never get emotionally attached to your unit. It's there for business. Unless you own the place, and this is why I like the rental arbitrage method where we're renting. See, if I own it, I'm going to be emotionally attached to it. I'm like, oh, I don't want them to break it. I don't want them. Honestly, I don't care if they come in. I don't care if they break it. I don't care if they trash it. I don't care what they do because that's why the insurance is put in place. And you want to have certain systems in place. So one of the things that we do is we have our cleaners take a video before and after they clean. So the moment they walk into our unit, let's say a guest just left, they're going to take a video of exactly what it looks like.
Before
they touched anything. Just in case, the video, we spot something broken, something missing, we know that it came from the last guest. Then they're going to clean a unit and then they're going to take another video. So what happens is now, anytime somebody breaks something, trash something, I can refer to the videos, I can take screenshots, I send it over to Airbnb, and no matter what, they're going to reimburse me for the damages if the guest refuses to reimburse me. So I love that because now if the guest, let's say they broke my couch, they broke the bed, all right, cool. Now I'm going to file the claim for that. Airbnb is going to give me the money back, and now I can use that money to get new furniture. And now I have a new refresh unit again. So it does. I don't worry about that. So don't worry about that. If you guys are getting in this game, especially if you are looking to use the model where we rent apartments and leverage platforms like Vrbo, like Booking.com, like Airbnb. Don't be emotionally attached to that unit. Remember, it's only a rental. You don't own it, and you will get reimbursed because of the insurance policies.
Okay. How much is that insurance policy?
It's like $1 million on Airbnb.
$1 million
Yeah, you good. You're covered. And then you also, a lot of buildings itself also require you to get your own home insurance too. So you're gonna have that insurance, but you're gonna also have. I've never had to use any of the insurances for like home insurance myself. Everything has always done through Airbnb.
Okay. And that monthly expenses, how much for the insurance?
What, Airbnb?
Yeah.
No, remember the
$1 million.
So
when you mentioned
So Airbnb just takes their cut out of every booking. So they take like a small, it's like 3%. I forgot the exact percentage, but it's a very small percentage of all your bookings, and that includes your coverage of your insurance policy. You don't pay anything extra The only thing you pay extra as far as insurance is if you get a separate one.
Okay, I got you. And currently, how many bookings do you have per month?
So we
just
average
a kind of basic estimate.
Yeah, you average about 10 bookings a month for a one bedroom. We like to do 1 bedroom units.
Okay.
The bigger the unit, the less amount of bookings that you'll have.
Okay.
But you can still make great money. So like if you have like a 4 or 5 bedroom home, you're gonna attract larger crowds. So they're gonna be groups of people that maybe want to celebrate a birthday, families that's going on vacation. They usually do that during holidays and weekends. So you may get like 4 to 6 bookings a month. Versus a 1 bedroom, somebody's always in the market for a 1 bedroom. The person that's traveling for work, they need a place to stay for a day, they're going to look for a 1 bedroom. The travel nurse that need a place to stay for the next 3 months, they're going to look for a 1 bedroom. Right? Somebody on the fly, they're like, oh man, I just need a place to crash. They're going to look for a 1 bedroom. So that's why I like 1 bedrooms, because I know people are always in the market. So that means my unit always stay booked. So we get about 10 bookings per month.
That's
and
good.
it allows us to make a lot of money.
Make some money, man.
Yeah. People always think, oh, I should get a bigger unit to make. You don't need to have a bigger unit. You see, people don't realize that there's so much more money you can make outside of what you charge for a booking.
Right.
See, I may charge $200 a night for a booking, but they don't talk about how we make money off of the cleaning fee. We make money off of parking, early check-in, late checkout. So we're making a lot of extra money. But if that's happening 10 times a month, right? Even if it's like an extra $200-300, if I do that 10 times per month, that's an extra, $1,000, $2,000.
The fees associated with it gonna add up anyway.
Yep.
Let's talk about regulations. Are there any new regulations versus the old regulations? What has changed since you've been in the industry? What changes have you seen as concerning regulations?
It's just popular.
A lot of people say it's dead. It ain't like what it used to be and all this.
It's not dead. It's just regulated, like you said. Most people are attracted to negative news. So if they hear, so let's say if an area like Atlanta did this, right, and then like the metro areas, like, they put restrictions or permits out there. So now you can do it, but you just got to get the permit.
How much is the permit?
But now, I don't even know. I never applied for the permit in Atlanta, to be honest.
Okay.
So I like to do in the outskirts. So I do like a Smyrna, like a Sandy Springs, because it's not in the area where I would need it, where it requires a permit. I don't even like to be in that area as well. But a lot of people will look at that and say it's dead. It's not dead. It just has permits. So the big changes in the industry is now, especially since the pandemic, everybody is doing it. Everybody learned about this business model, became very popular. So now the government is like, okay, well, we need to get some money, right? Like, we're not gonna let all these people just rent these apartments, make money, and we're not getting nothing on taxes, right? So now that's all it is. It's just they're putting things in place so you can pay taxes, which is cool. It's still worth it. Yes, just apply for the permit. It's not a big deal. Don't let that scare you. Or do like we do, like especially in Atlanta. Just go on the outskirts. Just because it's like they may say, so they may say, oh, let's say Airbnb is dead in Atlanta. Nah, it's just the area. But you just can, it's other areas that you can do.
Most people come to visit, they got a hotel on the outskirts anyway.
So
majority.
It's close. Like Smyrna is right there. Like it's borderline. So I love places like that. Like my favorite spot is the one we got in Sandy Springs.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your coaching community. And some of the workshops that you offer, and your Airbnb hacks course.
Right.
Just tell us a little bit, brief background about some of your courses and your mentorship.
Yeah, I mean, we have a very, very extensive program. I mean, so many different things that we offer. But the main thing I like to do is, number one, give people value, because you want to see if this is something that you actually want to do. So I do like a free workshop. Right now it's employeeexitplan.com. I do it every Thursday, where you can just come on and you can get literally 2 hours of me breaking down this process, let you know everything that you need to know. And the goal of that is for you to say, you know what, this is something I want to do, or I don't think this is for me, right? Before you go out and spend $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, whatever people are charging for programs, at least you get to see for free, like, you know what, I think this is for me. So right now you can go to employeeexitplan.com. We may be switching that, so just for the record, because I know this video is going to last a long time, if it's not employeeexitplan.com, it'll be realestaterevenuesecrets.com, right? But in any case, we do free workshops every Thursday. You can come. Then as far as our main program that people love is our mentorship. And with the mentorship, literally we have over 100 different videos that people could watch at any time, as many times as they want. We have well over 3 weekly coaching calls. They get access to our chats. They get access to all the documents and contracts that they need. But the most important thing for me, and the reason I really push a mentorship versus a course, is because with a mentorship, you have ongoing guidance and support. With a course, you may get one video video, 2 videos, a module, and then you're on your own.
Right.
But you don't have that support. And I like the fact that if 3 weeks from now you have a challenge, you can come onto a live call and say, you know what, let me ask this question. Or if in 5 months life hits you and you have to take a break, that you know that you can come back and you can jump on these calls that are happening consistently every week. So
That's true.
Our mentorship is very popular, and then we have our mastermind program. And the mastermind is more of like that direct coaching where we kind of do everything with you and for you, from like literally setting up your LLCs, getting your websites done, having people help you with finding the units. We literally design your unit, and that's more for the person that's like, listen, I have some money, and I would rather, you guys walk me through the whole process where your team does everything for me, and it'll save me time, and we can start making the money faster.
Okay. And tell us, break down the cost of those coaching in the mentorship program.
So
Those that's interested and maybe right now ready to go.
Yeah. So as far as the free workshop is free. You gotta pay for that, right? As far as the mentorship, it's usually around like $14.97. I always do promos. So the key is, especially on Thursdays, y'all, I always do promos. I do promos anywhere between $5.97 and $9.97, depending on what Thursday is. And that's for the program, like I said, with over 100 videos, like very extensive. And then the mastermind is a $7,000 program, but we've been running a promo for $5,500 recently, and that's for the people that's like, listen, I'm ready to go. And we really help them and kind of just go through that whole process with them. So that's about the range of
what's to get started.
We even have a community. I'm sorry to cut you off, but we even have a community too for people that's like, hey, I can't go there. I have a community where it's like $40 a month, where you can still come in and get access to over 40 calls. So when I say it's like a very extensive program, it's not one of those things where like, hey, here's my program. It's like it's something for everybody.
Yeah, I got you. And is there anything else, any new development? Well, you already kind of touched on it, though, for 2025. Some of your new developments is going to take place.
Right.
And is there anything else you would like to add?
Yeah, man, I would just say this, man.
I want to touch on mindset, touch on the entrepreneur mindset.
Yeah, I was actually about to, so here's the deal, right? A lot of times we trick ourselves out of blessings because of, listening to other people and not just really, looking at the basis of things. I'm a very, I like to look at things from a logical standpoint, and I think things make sense, and I think building wealth is a simple process that people overcomplicate. For me, if you start at the basis of it, right? If I look up, or if I speak to somebody who's wealthy and they say, hey, listen, man, 90% of millionaires become so through owning some sort of real estate, then for me, if I have a 90% shot of doing that, then I'm doing something related to that. Like if I want to be wealthy, if I want to be successful, if I want to be a millionaire, and they tell me, hey, well, you have a 90% shot if you do this, I'm doing that. That's the first thing. So now I say, okay, I know real estate's the industry. How do I get involved? Most people are going to think of it in a traditional sense, right? But when you think about like investing in a property, you got to go through the purchasing process. You got to deal with the credit. You got to deal with the appraisals, the title searches, the closing costs. You got to deal with that. And most people, they're not ready to go through that. It's too much for them. They don't have the money. They don't have the credit, and they don't desire to go through the process, right? But what we do is we allow people who want to build wealth the old way. That's what I like to call it. So we let them go and get the homes. We let them go purchase the homes, deal with the banks, and deal with all that stuff. And once they're done, I say, you know what? Rent it to me.
Okay.
Right? And then now I take that property and I use that property as a rental to make money. In most cases, I'll be making more money per month than the person who actually owns the property. But if you look at it from this sense, right? A lot of successful business models, they understand the model of own nothing, control everything.
Yeah.
If you look at companies like Lyft and Uber, they said, we're going to dominate the transportation industry, but we're not going to purchase a single car.
Yeah.
Netflix, Prime Now said, we're going to dominate the movie industry. We're not going to own a single theater. Uber Eats, Grubhub said, we're going to dominate the food industry. We're not going to purchase a single restaurant. They understand that business model. So when you look at companies like Airbnb, like Verbal, like Booking.com, they're literally following a business model that we use every single day. We engage with the Netflix, with the Prime Now, with the Zells, the Cash App. Cash App said, we're going to dominate the money industry, but we're not going to purchase a single bank. Like this is our life.
Model. Yeah.
Right. So if these companies like a Verbo, like a Booking.com, like a Airbnb is following the same model, that tells me this is proven. Right. So sometimes I said we just overcomplicate things. The answers are always in your face. You're just overlooking it.
Yeah.
And I'll even give you one more thing, right? The reason I love this industry, and I think, and this is why I really believe that you'll make more money and you'll have more success in this industry than almost any other industry out there. I know somebody's like, well, I want to start a trucking business. Well, I want to do credit. Well, I want to do this. Okay, cool. The difference with this business is I already know that you have experience. Yeah. Because you've either done it or you've seen somebody do it. Think about it like this, right? Majority of people that's watching me, you probably rent an apartment. You rented at some point in your life.
Right.
Whether it was a room, an apartment, a house, you rented before. So you know what it looks like to rent.
Yeah.
When you rented that place, what did you do? You put furniture in there. You say, you know what? A couch will look nice here. A TV will look nice here. So you know what it looks like. So you mean to tell me we do the same exact thing? Because all I do is I look up areas, I apply, I have to pay rent, I have to put furniture in a place, and then I start making money. So me and you, we do the same exact thing. The only difference is I get paid and you don't get paid.
Right.
But you already have the experience. And this is why I'm very confident when people come into my program, I'm confident of their results because I already know that they are a lot more ahead than they think they are.
Right.
Versus when they start another business where they got to learn everything brand new. You ain't got to learn what you've been doing. And some of y'all moved 2 or 3 or 4 times. That tells me that you can get 2 or 3 or 4 units because you've done it multiple times. So I have the advantage. To me, it's the easiest thing for me to teach. Because I don't care who I'm talking to, you already have experience. You've either done it multiple times or you've seen it done. Because your parents did it, because your friend moved, because your boyfriend just got an apartment, right? You've seen it done. So that would be my advice. I would say one more thing too. Sometimes you don't realize your biggest advantage is like right next to you. You know, for me and my wife, this is a business. This is the first business me and my wife did actually together. And you know, she had her own business when we met. I had my own business, and then you know, we were always doing things separate, but we never really got to a point where we like just really excelled. We never got to the point where we were like dominating. Right. And we finally did this together. And when we did it together, we dominated. We dominated because she was better at things that I wasn't as good at. You know, when it comes to furnishing and coming up with the designs and handling all the back end, you know, when it's like, hey, support is calling something. I don't want to deal with no support. I don't want to handle that. I want to go find the units. I want to make sure they're going to make the money. I want to put the systems in place. But my wife is going to handle all the other stuff. And that's why we're able to have the success. So I would highly suggest, if you feel like, you know what, you don't know if you can do this, find a partner. That partner may be your wife, it may be your husband, and maybe your best friend, and maybe your mother. I have people in my program that they partner with their parents and they go out and do this together, and you guys will get to help each other, you know, throughout that process. It's going to make everything a lot more fun and a lot more easier. So if you don't feel like you can't do it yourself, you know, just find somebody to do it with, or use one of the other strategies, because there's so many different ways to make money in this industry. It's not just getting a unit. You know, you could also co-host. You could also make money from referring people to the Airbnb platform. There's so many different things that you can do. But just take some time and look it up. Okay. You know?
And let people know, how can they reach out to you?
Best way is going to be on social media, pretty much Instagram. So if you look at the Jay Dinkins, you can find me. So that's at THEJDINKINS.
Okay. Thank you, man. I want to really appreciate you coming out, taking your time out of your busy schedule to come on the podcast today. And I hope our listeners gained a lot of knowledge and also learned more about the Airbnb industry that you didn't know before. And like he just stated, you can come in as an investor, you can come in as a host, you can come in if you have a cleaning company, and possibly partner up with an Airbnb entrepreneur in order to make it happen and make some passive income for yourself, or you can do it full time as a business owner. And I want to thank you, Jay Dinkins, for taking your time out coming to the show.
Absolutely.
Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to this particular video, and stay tuned for our next episode that's coming up on Streetpreneur Podcast. Thank you.